So the purpose and the goal of St. Boniface Institute is to spread the Catholic faith in certain ways, in following a certain idea. And this idea is that we've found out in the past that many people are looking at certain aspects of the big fight we all go through. And if I talk about we all, I talk about mankind right now, but especially about Western civilization. And try to separate this fight from their faith, or try to separate this fight from other fights. And I believe very strongly that this is wrong. I believe that in order to really understand what's going on in the world and going on also inside the different parts of the church here on earth, you have to understand that the Catholic faith always asks us to look at things in a Catholic way, so in a universal way. So how are things connected to our faith? They're connected always to our faith. Everything we do, everything we follow, especially the things we do in public, that's what we take care of, because obviously I cannot take care of what people think, and I don't want to, is shaped by the faith. So in order for us to be really promoting the Catholic faith, we need to bring back this understanding to the people. So in order to achieve this, we organize conferences, like the conference we had last Saturday, Friday and Saturday about abortion. We organize media trainings. We speak with politicians. We speak with people in the church. We bring together priests, etc. And we do this all following the rules of our mother, the Church. That's what we do. So the Boniface Institute itself is just an organizational structure. So let's put this aside for a second. Let's talk about what we try to achieve, and then I can also tell you who is involved. We have a few problems normally in life, and one of the problems is that as soon as you have a family, you have children, and you're involved with a certain job, you cannot do certain things anymore. First of all, because out of love for your children. So many people, for example, did not want to risk anything during the times of the terrible Corona dictatorship, because they knew if they risk something, they don't have any money left for their own family. So in order to achieve something you could call a movement, you need people who say the truth publicly. In the past, in every Catholic society, like Austria, for example, was always a Catholic society. Right now, this is not at all the case anymore, even though we still see some remnants. You always had a few good bishops, a few good parts of aristocracy, of the ruling class, some industrials even, who were just Catholic. And whenever they are asked publicly about what's going on, they were giving a Catholic point of view. And so people could gather behind them, and they could say, well, I share his opinion. And even if they were not able to talk about this publicly because of their job restrictions, etc., they could go to these people in private and say, thank you very much for giving the speech, I also share this opinion. Then those people who talked publicly about faith can tell them, what's your situation exactly? What is your kind of work? I know other people's, and that's how a society, Catholic society, can come up, even if only a few people are out in public and fighting the public fight. So this is our goal nowadays. And we saw that in order to achieve this, you need a team of young and strong, especially men. I do strongly believe that there's a huge difference between men and women. I believe that women should not do certain parts of the fight. First of all, it's just not very elegant. And second of all, it actually destroys certain abilities which are needed for them to be good mothers and good women in general. So in order to do this, we need a good, I came to the conclusion that we need a good bunch of young Catholic men to do this. We organized meetings. We formed a group called the Catholic Resistance Group, which especially during the Corona lockdown times was very active. We're now a little bit less active, but we're still in good connection. And the whole idea about this was that whenever we do something, we try to go together. Everyone helps together, building things up, creating whatever is necessary to make things possible. We did public rosary processions, we still do them. We did a conference, we did demonstrations, we did this, and we always had this bunch of young people. Some of them are singing in the sholas, or they sing in the choir of the Holy Mass. Some of them are the servers of Holy Mass. So we were always able to organize private Holy Masses. Also during times of lockdown, it was always possible. And I believe that talking to you as someone who recently became a father, obviously, I now see the different perspectives a little bit more, even though I still need to grow inside this. The young people I work together with always had tons of energy, and they want to do something good. And many people make the mistake that because they are young, they think they know better. But that's not the case. So we have to learn from someone who really knows better. and that's the church. The Holy Church is our mother, and it is a mother who gives us great wisdom. So whenever we have questions, we can ask the church itself, we can ask the holy books written by holy men, we can ask obviously Holy Scripture, we can read in the Catholic doctrine, we can ask good priests, we can ask good academics who know those things already. And if we do this, so if we learn everything we need to know by the people who actually have experience, so by the church itself and all the people who follow the church, then we can use our energy in the best way possible. So that's the whole idea about the group. And altogether, I can just do rough estimations. Sometimes we had 80 to 90 young people who we were able to also ask them to do certain things. Sometimes we had 10 people. Altogether, the core group was always between 30 and 60 people who were in the Corona lockdown times especially able to organize whatever we needed to organize. The first thing you have to do is obviously get your own life in order. If you don't do this, I wouldn't say it's totally useless, but it's pretty much useless to fight for another cause if you do not fight for the biggest cause in your life, for your own way to heaven. So at the end of the day, what we need to do is we need to get our own things in order, try to find a good Catholic Mass. As you know, I always tell the people, please go to traditional Mass. We are not a group inside the church. There's not a team of traditionalists and the team of Novus Ordo guys. That does not exist. It's the Catholic Church. But if you want to understand the Catholic Church, the 2,000 years old Catholic Church, you need to understand the 2,000 years old wisdom of the Catholic Church. So try to find as much as you can of this. Try to learn it. Try to find the spiritual guidance you need. Sometimes this will be a good book written by a good holy man of the church. We had quite some of them. But in general, it will be a good priest. Try not to stick with just one priest just because you know him or you like him on wing. Try to always go to the people who really help you solving your problems. The priests are there to help you going to heaven. They give you what the church asks the priest to give us when we are in a situation that we can receive. And as long as it helps you finding your way to heaven, it's good. As long as it does not help you doing this, then you don't need to stick around there. We as Catholics have to have quite a big flexibility in the modern world, not in our principles, but in the way how we achieve what we want to achieve. And this flexibility shows, ask of us many sacrifices. So I think the first sacrifice every young man should bring is fighting for the unborn children. I believe that if you do not fight for the unborn children, you will not be able to fight for anyone. Why is this the case? That's my personal belief. Why is this the case? The unborn children are totally defenseless. They cannot defend themselves at all, not 1 second. They are in the womb of their mothers. And most of the time, the problem is that the fathers of those children or the men surrounding those women do not help them. It's unfortunately exactly the opposite. So here in Europe, most abortionist doctors are, for example, men. In Europe, if you ask the statistics of why people abort, in some countries you will have them, in some countries you will not have them. In Austria, we do not have them, for example, those statistics. Then you will find out that many people say, well, because it was just too much in my life, etc., which you can always translate as there was not a stable family. And we know that the head of a family is the man, so if there's not a stable family, you can 99% see that it's a lack of good man. So in order to be prepared to be a good man in the future, even if you're not married yet, you have to defend the unborn children, because this will always be your cause. And then the second fight everyone has to do is try to do something good for your local community or your parish. So if they need someone to serve Mass, serve Mass. If they need someone to sing in the choir, sing in the choir. If they need someone to just prepare the chairs for the church coffee afterwards, do this. It doesn't matter what you think of yourself. If you have a very high position, or if you think of yourself as too good for this, you are never too good to do this. Never too good to do this. Everyone should participate in his own community and try to make things better. Then the third fight, which actually is also one of the number one fights, but you see it's a different level, is try to get a good understanding with your own family. Even though that many people who will even watch this will have the situation that they will not have a good family at home, in a way that they have not things in order. Maybe their parents are divorced, maybe there's fighting going on between them, maybe there's no faith there, etc. Those things exist. But God calls us to do the good. And whenever we ask ourselves, well, I can't hear God's calling. Yes, but you can maybe see it. And you can see it in the way God put you somewhere. Why do you think did He let you grow up in the place you grew up? Why did He give you the parents He gave you? He gave them to you for you to follow the fourth commandment. be there for them as well. So if we see that in our own families things are not good, pray for your own family, make sacrifices for your own family, make a pilgrimage for your own family, do those things, be there for them, be always there for them, whatever happens, try to do the best for your own family. If you do not do this, fighting for other families is still a good cause, but it will never have the same power, because you will not have a stable family yourself. So it will be difficult for you to understand certain things. And then an aspect, that's why I said get your own life in order, go to confession regularly. And the reason why you should do this is very easy to understand. There are tons of good reasons. I will give you one. Our soul, if you think of our soul as let's think of it like a ball made out of a beautiful material, let's say a silver ball, a pure silver ball. Then many people believe that by doing sins, the ball suddenly gets stains on it and gets dirty. But that's untrue. If you sin, you destroy your ball. You do not have a stain on it. It gets less, it gets destroyed, it cracks, things fall out, etc. So many people don't understand that whenever they sin, the possibilities of their soul to understand God, to have a good, to also want the good things, are actually getting smaller and smaller, up to a point where you really need other people to make sacrifices for you because you cannot even see it anymore in a way. So if you go to confession, the confession is not a cleaning of your soul, it's more than this, it's a restoration of your soul. And that's way bigger. So people often do not understand this, and I believe that if they would understand, they would take care of this in a way different way. It's not just another piece of dirt you get on your soul if you sin. It's another piece of your soul which is missing in a way, you know. So yeah, that's pretty big if you think about this. Many people always believe that there is a huge calling for them. They must be the next president, the next head of this, if they would be the head of this and this, and then they could change. No. You're not. God put you in a certain situation. This is the situation you have to do good things in. Don't imagine yourself in a different situation, because if you do this, it's actually pride at the end of the day, because you believe that things should be yours which are not yours. And that's, I will very much define this as pride. And that's definitely not the Catholic way to go. So I think that's the main goal. And that's also what we try to achieve here at St. Boniface Institute's work, to just make this possible to the people by organizing lots of good contacts with good priests and with good spiritual guidance, with good books, etc. So this is fighting for Catholic culture, more or less. This is what we actually do. Let's imagine a situation right now. The bishop is a pastor and we are his sheep. Just imagine, and we are obviously humans, not real sheep, so we're humans. So just imagine you would jump down in the valley just because your pastor is an idiot. Would you do this? Would you, if you understand you should not jump down there, would you do it just because your pastor is an idiot? No, you would not. You would try to still not jump down in a valley where you maybe cannot come up anymore. Would you stop drinking from the well just because your pastor doesn't show you where the well is, if you understood where the well is? No, why would you? So why should we, therefore? Our bishops we need them. We need to pray for them. We need to even fight for them. We even need to protect them in a way, by the way. The task of the first Christians made this very clear. In the years of the first centuries of Christianity, for example, the Roman Empire, you would have the Christian being persecuted. And it was the laity who defended the priests and bishops. They hid them in their houses. They defended them even sometimes, physically defending them. So this is our task. The bishops give us something very beautiful. They ordain new priests. They give us the sacrament of the confirmation. They are what Christ told them to be, the shepherds. But unfortunately, we know that many people do not fulfill what they should fulfill in a way. Would we talk bad about parents in general just because most fathers right now are terrible? Would we say that certain plants are bad because certain plants are poisoned? You would not say this. You would always try to work for the good thing. If you would write a book, let's say about dogs, would you use a sick dog to describe this certain breed, or would you use a healthy one? You would obviously use a healthy one to describe them. So let's look at the church this way. The church gives us the beauty of the episcopal rank, in a way. There's a nicer word in German. I have it in my mind right now in English, but it gives us the beauty of bishops. They give us the beautiful the beautiful pope, the papacy. It gives us the beautiful priesthood, beautiful nuns, all those things. They give us beautiful parenthood, everything, all the sacraments. And we say because others do the job bad, we are now stopping to do our work. I think that doesn't make any sense. So at the end of the day, yes, there are bad bishops, lots of them, as there are bad parents everywhere. Yes, there are bad people in the church. That's very true. But this should not hinder us. We do not go away from Jesus because of Judas. We just don't do it. And I think that if people understand them and they would have a, let's say, less scandalous view of the church, don't look at the church as a political party. It is not a political party. The church will always be here, always. And as long as the earth exists, the church will be here now. And we know this. So let's fight for it as good as we can. And let's ask the church for its help, for her help. And the church will give us her help, because at the end of the day, it will always provide a priest which hears a confession. It will always provide a priest to celebrate Mass and hand out Holy Communion. It will always give us the possibility to get confirmed. It will always give us the possibility to get married. Yes, we have to fight sometimes for it. But look at the times, for example, in communism, where people had to travel thousands of kilometers to get this. You do not have to travel thousands of kilometers right now. No, I think in no place on earth in the Western world, maybe in China and things like this. Yeah, that's true. And just imagine those people, and they still manage to have an underground church there, and they still bring forward wonderful priests, they still bring forward sometimes even martyrs, etc. So church is totally alive, even though some parts of its hierarchy are rotten right now. And yes, they are. That's part of life. So there are a few things. First of all, I think the first call to action, as I said, is the thing with your own family. You need to take care of this. This is a call to action you need to start now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, I mean, but yesterday, in a way. Then the second call to action that's very important is get your source of information straight. If you want to fight a good political fight, you should not get yourself informed by people who actually hate the Catholic faith. It's more or less impossible. So try to get yourself informed in the best way possible if you want to fight a certain fight. So for example, if you want to fight a pro-life fight, try to understand the Catholic angle of the pro-life fight. I know there are many so-called non-Christians explanations for it, and yes, of course there are, because the truth is the truth. So it will always be visible for people as long as they want to see the truth. But there is a very, very, very beautiful aspect to it. So for example, for Catholics, abortion is a main problem because it's actually a huge sin. That's the main problem. It is a main problem because it's a diabolic thing. It perverts the sacrifice of the Mass. It's a main problem because it's a diabolic thing. It perverts the security God gave the children in the womb of their mothers, and so on. So this is the main problem about abortion. It kills an innocent human being. Innocent child is being murdered by people. That's the problem of abortion. So just to give an example, what is the call to action? The call to action is don't sit at home. Try to get rid of bad habits, especially the bad habits of looking at your phone all day, the bad habits of living only an online life. I know fighting on Twitter or Facebook or I don't know what is sometimes very nice, and maybe some people are called to do this, but most people are not called to do this. Most people, I believe, very strongly are called to actually be present in real life, be living examples of Christianity and not just online shadows of themselves, pushing certain things even though they themselves sit at home all day. Further of all, try not to engage with all the scandals. There are always scandals, and especially in the Catholic online world, people tend to think of the Catholic Church, as I said already, like a football team. They say, I'm on this team, I'm on this team. No, you're not. You're a Catholic. You're with Christ. Christ called you to go. He calls you still to go to heaven with him. It's not about the scandal someone has. It is a problem, obviously, and we do not want to have corrupt things in our church, obviously, so we have to fight against it. But how do you fight against it? First of all, by being yourself a good Catholic. Go out, try to create something in a way. So for example, if you find out in your local town is an abortion clinic and there is no constant prayer, which I've tried to organize this. If you find out that many people actually would like to pray together the rosary, try to organize a public rosary prayer. Ask your local priest if he helps you doing this. This is how you should do it. Do it with the church, not in opposition to the church. This is very important. This is also what's going to heal many wounds, because many people believe that you heal the wound by going away, but that's not what we're called to. The church is one. It's one. You cannot just have your own team and say, but we do it right and let them rot. No, you don't. Nobody is worthless for us. We go to everybody and help them. So I think at the end of the day, try to find your ministry in a way, but in a traditional sense of the word. So don't try to act as if you do not need the church for it. Try to ask the church for help. read in the good books, as I said already, and try to have physical friendships with other Catholics. Meet them in person. Organize personal things. Try to be there present as much as possible. Get away from this online digital life. The digital life is not per se wrong. We can use everything, also this invention, to make Christ's message being heard everywhere in the world. It's actually a very good invention if you use it for this, for example. But it will never, never, never be a substitute for you being physically present in life for someone else. And if you have in your own family problems, for example, I don't know, you have someone who has a drug problem, you have this whole transgender nonsense somewhere, maybe in your own family, those things happen nowadays. This is your first calling, fight for them. Do not try to destroy those people. Those people, just because someone lives a leftist lifestyle does not mean he's evil, not at all. Those people are normally lost. They need love and compassion, prayer, sacrifices, and a helping hand. They do not need you to say, well, I knew it, he was always a leftist. You didn't know it. You didn't know it. He could have had a conversion maybe by now, if more people prayed for him. This is the understanding. So at the end of the day, I think if we get away from this personal level of always seeing scandal and everything, to a more spiritual understanding of the world, we know scandal is happening, and we know even we ourselves will maybe cause scandals. We maybe do wrong things as well, and we most probably will do wrong things as well. We need the help as well from others as well. So why should we act as if we already, because we're Catholics, are way above others? We're not. We now understand that we're the servants of the servants. We help everybody. I think that's the call to action. And then there is a very practical call to action as well. Try to reshape your life in a Catholic way. So without pushing it on other people in a wrong way, but you should make it present. So for example, if you do not have a cross in your room, hang up a cross in your room. If you do not have a prayer life, do a prayer life. If you have good friends who do not go to Mass, invite them to Holy Mass once. Try to get them in touch with a priest, organize a little dinner with a priest, invite those friends, do this. This is the missionary work you need to do. We are not called to do missionary work instead of the priests, but with the good priests we have. And even if you only have one good priest, then this is the priest God gave you to work together with in a way, and to ask also this priest if he needs help with anything. Ask the priest, ask him, you have a community, do you need help with anything? And if he says, yes, I need help, then give him the help if you can. So this is a very big call to action.